Hey everyone, it's King CK here today with Hero Gaming. Today I'm going to be showcasing you guys the Captain Sim 777. This is one of Captain Sim's newest products. It just came out not long ago and it's still in the quote-unquote experimental pilot stage, which means it still hasn't gone through testing yet and the final kind of process. It's in the step 2, so that means it includes the interior. You guys can look on Captain Sim's website to see kind of the testing thing, but either way it's on stage 2, so sorry about that. So, let's get started here. So, first things first is the exterior model. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. It is crazy detail, and I keep getting clipped into the building. There we go. It has everything on here is pretty much animated. There isn't a single panel or door on this thing. You can even drop the ram air turbine, which I'll do right now, which doesn't or must not go down during air, because I know the 7.5 does, but the 757 Captain Sim 757's ram air turbine will drop down when you're parked, but it won't go. And then on the 7.6 it won't go when you're down, but it'll go when you're up. But yeah, down here you got the landing gears, which are all pretty fancy here. And a little cool feature is you drop these little service access panels, and you can go up inside where you'd repair it for a normal thing. And it's pretty cool. The nice part about this plane is it has every single detail a real aircraft would. Now, this thing has pretty much everything to it. And so I'll quick go up to the virtual cockpit, and the reason I'm actually in this model is because I have to load the virtual cockpit separately, because one of the downsides right now is the passenger cabin is currently just a separate model just because it's so resource intensive. That, and it hasn't gone through the final stage 3 testing, so I'll quick close the doors while the textures load in. Window not closed. Oh, well, I would have never guessed. Alright, let's close that. So the really cool part about this plane is it literally everything about the 777 is on here. It has the glass panels, the really fancy, nice interior. And a little backstory here with this aircraft, in terms of my opinion here, is normally I never liked this 777. I didn't like the look of it. I didn't like the style of it until I actually flew it in Flight Sim. And this thing just handles so much nicer. And it's one of those planes that looks atrocious, and it's like the A380, where it's so big and just so not like attractive. But then all of a sudden you fly it, and it just, the way it handles is crazy. Like, it handles better than the 737, and that's not even an opinion. It's just the way it feels and handles in the air is just much different. And I know a lot of people are going, well, that's just different per flight sim maker of the aircraft. But that's actually not true, where I've flown a handful of different payware and freeware 777s, and this one seems to be the nicest handling. But I mean, even the original one from Flight Sim 02 was nice. Alright, enough of me bantering on about the 777, I guess. So, I'm going to actually get into systems now. The nice part about the 777 is it doesn't use a lot of the older panels that Captain Sim has been known to use, and that's because the 777 has a lot different panels. So one of the coolest things is the EFB, which is the electronic flight bag, which is essentially, a lot of pilots will have these in their little tablets, pretty much, that you can set up all your information on them. And it's really cool, because what you can do is, so right here, this is the cameras feature, which I don't know if they have it hooked up, but I know on the A380 and some of the Emirates aircraft, they have cameras mounted on your aircraft that they can swat or cycle through, because I've actually seen it in use. It's pretty cool. But yeah, either way, it has all these kind of, just like, yeah, it can store maps in it, airport information, approach numbers, all that kind of stuff, and it just has crazy amounts of detail. And a lot of times what they'll do is, it just doesn't seem to be, there it goes. And see, a lot of times you have to put in your own information into the manual, which I mean is a downside. But a lot of times what the airline companies end up doing is they have someone hired to come in and put in the flight information for the aircraft schedule for the week. So I had a friend who actually did that for an airline when I was at training. He was my flight instructor, and he was telling me about how they do that on the 737s for Sun Country. And you just pretty much put the information in for the aircraft's week, and it has all your information in it. It's really cool, actually. It's a nice feature that they've included, which pretty much no other payware really or even touches base of the electronic flight bag. So, I mean, I can go over some of the other features of the aircraft. A lot of them are pretty standard. You'd see them in the Boeing 737 and 747 built into Flight Sim. So, I mean, they're pretty standard. Like, you got your autopilot and flight controls. Nothing really too fancy. You got your overhead panel, which does get fancy here, so I'm actually going to see if they have the overhead panel position here, and they do. So this thing, it's a little bit more simple than the 757, because when you guys have got the Captain Sim 757, you'll look at the top panel and you're like, what in the hell is that? So this one's a lot more simple and more basic. I mean, you pretty much got your electrical system. Fuel's over here, I believe. Is that your fuel system? No, that is the electrical system. Oh, here's the fuel system. I'm so used to the old 727 systems. So right here you got like the fuel system. You got your electronic systems over here. Air conditioning and kind of, this is more of your air systems, like your pressurization, all that kind of crap. And one of the fun features about this plane is no other aircraft seem to do these, which I'll turn them both on here. Put them at different speeds. I'll show you guys those in a second. You got your bing, which little fun detail. If you got FS passengers, you can always make it feel even more real. So quick switch our position so I can show you guys what I did. Is if you look down here, and I think actually the APU has to be on for it to work, and I don't have it on right now. I could start up the engines, but I'll do that later in the thing. But either way, they have working windshield wipers, which are pretty cool, and I'll check and see if it has a ground, should have a ground power system. Yep, external power, so once that gets on, it'll fire over. And it's really cool because they got like literally all the ground systems built in, so I mean it's definitely pretty cool. This is one of their newer designs, which I've never seen them try this before other than their old-fashioned one. Personally, I prefer the old one. It just looks a little bit nicer. Is a little more practical. This one just kind of looks a little more tacky-ish, I guess you could say. But either way, it gets the job done, and that's all it really needs to do by the end of the day. So this is just the interior. I'll have to switch into the passenger cockpit model for you guys to see the passenger lounge, which I will quick here switch over to in a sec. But yeah, so this is the exterior and the virtual cockpit for the 777, which definitely just those alone are great. So I'll quick pause the video while I let it load, and then we'll continue from there. Alright, hey everyone, we're back. So I haven't actually loaded it up yet, but I'm just going to show you guys which liveries come with it, so you guys can see. We got the American, Air France, British Airways, United, KLM, Japan, Singapore, Air Korea, Air Canada, Delta, and Emirates. Which are pretty much just the big, I think that's the big 6 operators that actually use it in modern flight today. And every one of the models, like I said, are crazy detailed, and they've clearly put a lot of work into them. And the one reason it has the engine covers on is because a lot of the model stuff will carry over. So I mean, all the models have the crazy detail to them. So I'll show you guys how to load the passenger cockpit. And as you can see here, I do have other 777. So when I say this is the best one I've flown, it's pretty much I've compared it against 3 or 4 other different ones. So the for the what is it, the passenger model, it is in KLM theme, so it's a little bit of a downside. But a lot of times with the passenger model, the only reason I ever would use or ever do use the passenger model, other than screwing around in it and just kind of playing with it, is filming. And if you're going to be filming, a lot of times you won't have the exterior model, or you can just switch it out with the texture packs and stuff. So it pretty much with the interior model, it's the same as the exterior. Everything looks the same. Only difference is for your virtual cockpit is it doesn't actually have the full cockpit. It has the passenger area, which is a downside, but I'm hoping that they will combine the two, hopefully by the time they release the full stage 3 aircraft, which is kind of a downside that they do have a separate model system, and it does kind of ruin the product. And the other downside too, though, is when you load up one of the models, it'll automatically open a tab on your window and send you to Captain Sim's page, which is quite irritating. And it can get irritating when you switch aircraft a lot, because a lot of times I'll have like 8 tabs of Captain Sim, which I don't know why it does that for some reason. But as you can see here, the cockpit panel doesn't actually have a 2D panel, which is a massive downside for this aircraft, unlike some that do have the nice panels. But I mean, you can have the outboard display. Let's see here. I believe they have all the display panels too. So I mean, you can bring up all the panels you need to fly. And I actually have, I can't cut back on the camera because I don't have a camera right now. I'll have one sooner. But I actually have the full SciTech panels that have autopilot, and then the display panels. I have them hooked up right now, but they will give me my information so I can fly this aircraft the way it is. But it has a I believe it's a 3-class system on it, like most airlines usually do. I believe Emirates is the only one that has a different configuration than most of the companies. And theirs is like they have a higher end looking configuration, and that's real life, and they don't actually have it carry over, because that would mean they'd have to change out the models itself. So try to move back here. I have, unfortunately, my camera speed is quite slow when I move it. So we'll move back here, and I'll kind of show you the midsection of the aircraft, which doesn't have a natural viewpoint selection. I've never actually been on a 777. I've been on the 767s, which are essentially smaller versions of it, and it pretty much, you can definitely feel it feels similar, where they kind of have this middle 4 lavatory system, which even here, this is what's really cool about Captain Sim, is they've thought about everything. And they even put in a friggin' toilet into their planes. It's crazy. I would have never, like, if I was making DLC, I'd be like, oh no, we don't need to put a toilet in our plane. And they actually thought about it, which is cool. They don't really do too much, but I mean, it's still pretty cool. And this is just kind of like the area where a lot of passengers will kind of congregate and just hang out. And then the other little fun thing too is I've noticed these lying around some of their other aircraft is they have Easter eggs where they have Captain Sim expands its Boeing 707 family, and it's kind of fun where they have little fake news articles and stuff like that. And I think it actually has detail in that. It actually is a page from a game magazine, I believe. But so I'll quick show you guys first class. So here's first class, which I don't know if the seats actually do interact in this build, in 0.09 build, I believe. But I'm pretty sure they do stuff. Yeah, like here you can move the. Hang on, let's see if I can get it to go out. Come on. There it is. You can get the portable TVs to flip out for the passengers. I believe your footrest will kick out too if you... Yep, here you go. You can move the seat back and forth. I'm not sure if you can get it to recline or not. Oh yeah, you can. Wow. You actually can put it in the full lay flat bed mode. So pretty much you can have it act as if like a fully functional the way it is on the 777, which these lay flat beds. My dad actually flies around a lot, and that's one of the reasons I'm into aviation. And he says these lay flat beds are amazing compared to what they have on like the A330s, where they got those stupid egg things that halfway recline. And that's Delta actually that has those, if you're wondering. So, and all the overhead bins will open. All the seats are usually mess aroundable, I should say. In economy class, of course, all the panels will drop. Here, if I can get. I think it's usually, sometimes it's only the ones near the seat, but usually you can get these to go down, but for some reason they don't want to. I know you can mess with the armrest, so I've already done that. And then these, I believe all these TVs will, once the final release comes out, they will have images that you can display on them. Otherwise, I know one thing you can do is you can always edit the picture files that are, I believe they are .bitmats. Please don't take my word for that, but either way, you can edit out the images on here, and I know you could take the image of the TV yourself and you could put an airline logo on it, which would be kind of nice. So, and then I will quick show you guys. Let's see, we already did first class. Do they actually have a warp for economy? I believe they are, not economy, but business. And we actually moved back from the business class, but the business class lounge is just a little bit wider seats. So I will show you guys the galley, and we will wrap this up. Why do they not have a galley spot on here? Well, I guess we'll have to walk up to the galley. Oh, fun. Actually, I'll switch to the first class thing because that's a little bit closer, which is the downside, but I can, like I said, I know a way to mess with the viewpoints, and you just have to change the viewpoint number. So how close is this one to the aft galley, I'm wondering? Oh, not that far. We'll just walk to the aft galley first. Oh, there, now it actually works the way I like it. So the aft galley is pretty cool. They just got this thing littered with food, which is usually not this littered with food, even in flight. Or even at the terminal, they usually have everything stored nicely, so that's a little bit, it's kind of refreshing to see that. They got burgers and stuff and actual good-looking food. Unlike on most aircraft, the food is in these horrible boxes and tastes disgusting. But, so, let's see, I don't know if any of the panels or the service boxes move. Usually the aft ones won't in Captain Sim products if you've had a Captain Sim product before. A lot of times the aft or cargo boxes will not move around. I know they don't on the 767. But we can go up to first class here. And no, I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. Quick turn around here and walk up here to the forward galley. So in the forward galley here, it's pretty much a similar concept where they've gone ahead and done that, but I'm pretty sure one of these usually moves. Or I guess not yet, it doesn't. But you can always expect it in later builds. And like I said, this is in stage test pilot 2, so that's what you can expect. But that's pretty much it for the interior. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it other than all these animations, which are still pretty cool. And like I said, it's still in development, so I can expect, or we can all expect to see more out of it, and it'll eventually get pretty cool and nice on it and all that kind of stuff. So Either way, I do say it is worth the money. At the moment, though, I would wait and see if once the other builds come out to possibly buy it. But then again, the price will go up at that point. But like what I did is I highly recommend signing up for their newsletter. And then if you're not in a rush to get the plane, like if you're not like, oh, I only flight sim every now and again like I do, sign up for their or their newsletter, and they will release it. And I think sometimes they do it 2 times a year. I know last year they did it only once. The year before they did it twice. Is they have a €10 sale where everything in their shop is €10. Like I bought the pretty much $100 worth of C-130s for $10. It's crazy. They have, or well, €10, but it's roughly about $12 to $11 US, so it's not that big of a difference. So I highly recommend just waiting off for that sale, and that's probably one of your best options is to hang up, wait off. Otherwise, if you must have it and want to buy it, I highly say it is worth its money, and it's definitely worth it. I have a fun time flying it. It's really great, and I will quick fire up the engine so you guys can hear it. And they actually have a custom sound pack which they went out and filmed and recorded actual 777 engine noises, which a lot of companies usually will do sometimes with payware. So hang on, we'll get close to the engine so you guys can hear it. And there you have it. One of the engines has fired up. I'll give it a little more power so you can hear it a little more. But yeah, it's got pretty much everything to it. When it flies, it's got wing flex as well, which is pretty cool. I know I have a lot of standard 777s, and these planes are known for having wing flex, so when you'll take off, they bend and all that kind of cool stuff. So other than that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, rate, subscribe. If you have any questions about the aircraft that I did not cover or I completely spaced covering, leave it in a comment below. See if I can get back to you guys hopefully soon about your questions. Other than that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys go check out some of my other reviews I'm going to be having. I'm going to have the 707, the 737, and then if there is a high enough demand, I will do the 76 and 75s. I have all of Captain Sim's aircraft, and like I said, I love every one of them because the detail they put into these aircrafts is phenomenal. So other than that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.